Well, hello and a very warm welcome to Business Today TV. I am Chetan. Bhutani. Hyundai Motor India Limited has come out with a set of numbers and a whole lot of big bang announcements are coming from Hyundai stable. And I'm joined by Mr. Tarun Garg, full-time director and chief operating officer at Hyundai Motor India Limited. Thank you, Tarun sir, for joining us at Business Today TV. First question, sir. We saw the domestic sales dipping in FY25 despite an overall industry uptake. What specific dynamics impacted the market share this time, sir?
So I would say that, look, overall market, obviously after 4-5 years of very high growth, which also we all saw after COVID, this was very expected that the market sentiment would be a little bit muted because this has happened every 5 years, over the last 20 years I've seen. At the same time, we have to see how do we navigate this period. How much are we able to make a balance between volume and profit? I think this is all we saw even in the last quarter when it was a muted quarter in terms of volume, but we were able to have a EBITDA of 14.1%, which helped us to prop up the overall EBITDA for the full year to at 12.9%. We were able to keep our discounts at about 2%. Return on capital employed, which is a very strong indicator of our ability to turn around the capital, was at more than 40%. So I think we are very generally satisfied with that kind of a performance. In terms of market share, yes, we don't like to lose market share. And you have seen that we have a very aggressive plan in terms of new model launches. We have announced to the market 26 models launches in the next 5 years, consisting of 20 IC and 6 EVs. Our Pune plant is kicking up in the quarter 3 of this fiscal. The export guidance is very strong. Currently, we are at about 20-21% of the overall volume is exports. Going forward, we believe we can take it up to 30%. Export margins are generally higher than domestic margins. So that will be another margin booster for us. So all in all, I think India is a very important market for Hyundai, and we are well poised to leverage the opportunities that come our way.
Sir, but if you go through the fine print and the numbers, sir, we saw that the company slipped to the 4th spot in the market share segment for 3 straight months. What went wrong, and were you expecting this to fall to the 4th position?
Anyway, look, it was only for 1 month. It was not straight month or what. The last fiscal ended, we were a very strong number 2. So it's not as if we are not concerned. Obviously, nobody likes to lose, your position or market share, and we are well determined to get it back. Like I said, the Pune plant, we have been able to marry our new model cycle with the Pune plant. So you will see a flurry of launches coming there. Until then, also, we are doing a lot of efforts. At the same time, we don't want to lose our core competence, which is quality of sales, benchmarking technology, a good mix of volume and profit, because we are a listed company now. So I think our responsibility is also towards that. So we believe that this kind of strategy, which has really helped us in the past, we plan to really further fine-tune it and further look at all opportunities which come our way. I'll give you one more example. Like, one way is to increase discounts dramatically or really cut prices. But I don't think that is sustainable. The other way could be to really offer more features to the customers, by way of, in more trims. Like, I'll give you an example. In Venue, earlier sunroof was only available in the top trims. Then we introduced the sunroof in the middle trim and the lower trim, and the Venue volumes went up. So automatic in Creta earlier used to be in the mid and high trims. Then we brought it to the mid and low trim. And again, the Creta was the number 1 model amongst all brands in March and April. So I think we have to be more innovative and look for leveraging all opportunities.
Right. So despite a 4% drop in the 4th quarter profit, we saw the revenues were up. So what led to that equation, sir?
Look, average selling price, I think, like I said, we have been very conscious of the quality of sale. And that is why our average selling price has been consistently going up. And even last year, it went up in the domestic. In fact, in last quarter, it was very high as well. So one is the SUVization, because as SUV penetration contribution to our volumes went up to 68.5%. So obviously, more SUVs means higher margins, higher ASP as well. And second is in the trim also, whether it is the ADAS, whether it is the automatics, I think all those have gone up last fiscal when compared to fiscal 24.
Mm-hmm. So, but I think the real news of the earnings call was really about 26 new products, and I think the bigger news is, of course, you venturing into hybrids. Sir, give us more information as much as you can. I know it's a listed company, so you have your own certain limitations, but give out a certain timeline if possible, sir, on the hybrids. How focused are you and how soon can we expect that?
Look, we have been quite very, very clear that as far as Hyundai Motor Group is concerned, the advantage is, they have all technologies, whether it is hybrid, strong hybrid, plug-in hybrid, EVs, even hydrogen. So I think it's a problem of riches for us. And I think considering the Indian landscape, considering the kind of country we are, such a big country, different geographies, the kind of push towards sustainability, we are very clear that in addition to petrol and CNG, electrics are going to play a big role, and that is why you saw 6 EVs, and not only in terms of models, but a very strong localization plan, both in terms of supply chain as well as charging infrastructure. On the hybrids, yes, we will be coming out with hybrid as well, which will be over and above these 26 models which we talked about. More details on the product plan will be given in the investor day. At this point, I can tell you, out of these 26 models, 8 will come in the next 2 fiscals. So fiscal 26 and fiscal 27 will have 8 models out of these 26.
Okay. And sir, with just about 1% of your sales coming from EV last year, what are you taking any more steps towards EVs launch and having more EV penetration coming into India?
Absolutely. I think by 2030, we believe, everybody has their own guess. We believe EV penetration could touch 15% or so for the industry. And I think Hyundai is well placed to beat that and to have a market share in the EV space higher than the IC with the kind of models, the kind of localization plan, and of course the charging infrastructure. I think we are one company which are very, very serious about the DC charging infrastructure also. You can see on the highways and of course at the dealerships as well. We have a plan to have 600 fast charging stations by 2032. I think that will really help us. And now government has also come up with a very strong plan of fast charging stations and the highways. I think all this put together will make sure that the electrification is expedited in India. And of course, we want to play a lead role there.
Right. Also, sir, what kind of scale and output are you expecting from Talegaon plant once it goes live, and how soon are you expecting that it will start contributing positively to the margins and to the balance sheet as well?
Look, like I said, this third quarter of this fiscal, the plant will be up and running. In the phase one, 170,000 will be added to the current capacity of 824,000. So we reach 994 immediately. Then in 2028, 80,000 more will be added, which will take us to close to 1.1 million. I think that will really give us space to not only grow in the domestic market, but also take of a very strong, aggressive export pipeline, which we have. The eventual aim is that by 2030, we should be reaching an export contribution of 30% in our total volume. And export margins are higher than domestic, so that really gives us a good margin space. Of course, when the plant comes up, initial period is always about increasing the capacity, but I think we have a very strong track record. Over the past so many years in the Chennai plant, we are having a capacity utilization of more than 90%. So sooner than later, I think we should be aiming for that in the Pune plant as well.
Yes, I was just coming towards the exports only. They grew by about 14% while domestic sales were actually struggling. Exports numbers are actually coming out great for you. Are you kind of now pivoting towards becoming a more export-oriented firm, or you want to, because you're doubling your exports in the next 5 years? So, what's the plan there?
Look, we have been very strong in the domestic market. We have been very strong in the export market. In fact, right from the time we set foot in, export was a very integral part of our strategy because we are part of a very big group, and Hyundai Group, and Hyundai Motor Group has a presence in all the continents, in all the countries. So I think this is very important. And India is a very strong export hub for the emerging markets, whether it's Middle East, Africa, Latin America, Central America, Asia. So I think going forward, there will be more opportunities coming in. Exter we launched in South Africa. In fact, Venue we had in Indonesia, in Yemen. Going forward, we'll have an Exter left-hand drive, which will open up markets in the Latin America and many other markets as well. So I think it's very interesting time. Everybody wants to be in India, and more so with the IPO. We are very, very confident to leverage all the opportunities that come our way in the next few years.
The last two set of questions, sir. Given your capital outlay and the product expansion, what is your outlook on the markets, and are you trying to maintain a healthy, steady double-digit growth or lower but on a higher end of a single digit growth are you aiming for this year?
Look, we have already given a guidance on that. That exports we are looking at 7 to 9% growth in fiscal 26. In the domestic market, of course, SIM has predicted a growth of about 1%. So because last 4 5 years have been such high growth, periods for everybody. So I think we should be broadly in line with that. This is for this year, but of course, going ahead, like I said, with the capacity coming in and the new model cycle, we have much aggressive plans.
Sir, last question to you now. If I may ask you on the outlook and the demand for the industry, do you think that the trend for SUVs is now declining, and or is it beginning to increase again, because we see the sales of sedans actually getting affected? So, what is your outlook on that, sir?
Look, SUVs is not declining at all. In fact, SUVs are growing. Every year I'm asked this question. When I reached 50%, I was said that, oh, have you reached the peak? Then we reached 60. Now we have reached 68, 69%. I think there is still upside to it because more new segments are opening up. I think what, Chetan, you have to understand is even in the 6 to 7 lakh space, earlier there was no SUV, but now Exter came in. So I think it's not about the price. It is also about the kind of body type that the customers want. It is about 6 airbags being standard. It is about the technology, sunroofs they want. They want more space. They want more safety. I think all those things are adding up, and it is very good because that shows the sign of progress our great country is making. And the first-time buyer is still going up as far as Hyundai portfolio is concerned. So first-time buyer has gone up from 35% 5 years back to almost 40% now. So I think there's no need to worry as long as customers are buying cars. And I think they are the king. They will decide what they want. If they want more SUVs, we will be providing them with more SUVs. At the same time, even at 23%, hatch segment is still a big segment for a market of 4.3 million. So I think we are very much there in hatches, in sedans, and in SUVs. But most of the product launches will be in the SUV space.
Got it, sir. And do we expect the mass market EVs to come first?
I would say that you will have many EVs from us, like we mentioned, and the more details will be coming out on the Investor Day in September.
So thank you so much, Tarun sir, for speaking to us. Well, that was Tarun Garg, COO and whole-time director at Hyundai Motor India Limited, giving out the guidance on the numbers and how is the fact that Hyundai would be taking into focus of all the three major segments, which is of course EVs, the sedans, and the SUVs as well. Thank you so much, Tarun Garg, for speaking to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you like the video, do like, comment, share, and subscribe.